Back here with the Belle Vernon Leopards head coach Bob Bove, and we're also joined by Cole Waitman and Logan Hoffman. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making the trek up here. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and join us.
Thank you.
Coach, you're new to Westmoreland Sports Network, new to our viewers. Tell us about you. Where did you come from? How did you get into wrestling?
By accident.
A lot of people say that.
A good friend of my father's was actually the wrestling coach at Ringgold a real long time ago when they started the youth program. And I was in 6th grade, so I kind of just got started with my brother, my cousins, and a few other people from the neighborhood. And I was the only one who stuck around. Everyone else got smart and got out.
So you wrestled at Ringgold?
Yeah, I wrestled at Ringgold, and then 2 years at Pitt, and then finished up at California University of PA when they still had wrestling. So.
How many years have you been with the Leopards now, Coach?
I helped Coach Doppelhauer for 2 years, and this will be my second year as head coach, so 4 years total after bouncing around a few Washington County schools, and started my career as an assistant at McKeesport. Kid I wrestled with in college was coaching there, and that's how I got into coaching. So.
Now, are you a teacher? What do you do?
I teach at Ringgold Middle School. I've been about 21 years. Taught at the high school for 14, left to teach somewhere else for a year, and then back to the middle school for about 6 or 7 years now.
Specific subject you teach?
Social
Coach?
studies.
Social studies? Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Cole, tell us about you. Go ahead, hold her up and talk loud.
He's a man of few words. So.
I'll help you.
Yeah.
What year are you? What grade?
2022.
So you're a sophomore?
Yeah.
So
No, junior.
you're a junior.
Both juniors.
Okay. You're a member of the football team that made a nice run to the WPL semifinals. Talk about that experience.
It was pretty awesome playing with everybody, but we got cut short with lost to Aliquippa. Came back with a better plan than us at the halftime. So.
What position did you play?
I played linebacker and tight end.
Okay. Good deal. Go ahead, Jeff.
Coach, I'll start back with you. In the section you were in last year, a little bit rough. I think it's because you had a young and small team.
Yeah.
Weren't able to rattle off any section victories, but how's your team look this year as far as your numbers? And you're going to have a new member in your section in Baldwin this year, right? McKeesport's out, Baldwin's in.
I believe you're right,
So
yeah.
how does all that play into you? How's your numbers, and what are your expectations from your team this year?
I mean, unfortunately, our numbers are still small. We're probably a few years from being back with any solid numbers. We only have 2 seniors, though, so that's pretty good news. And having 2 guys like this makes the team stuff a little easier to take. But we moved up 4 freshmen this year, including Logan's younger brother, Austin, and Cole's cousin, Gio, are both moving up. So we're hopeful just because we do have some young kids, and we have some our junior high team is small also, but we have a couple really good kids there as well. Youth-wise, we've got about 90 kids in the youth program. And
that's promising.
we finally are getting a little wave of kids that'll be coming through the next few years. But it's a building process, and it kind of really lets you really kind of look at these other programs and be able to hold it together for years and years as these schools with traditions. That's just really kind of amazing because it is so hard to do these days, keeping kids out for this sport too. We all know is so tough. So just really admire those programs that just keep the numbers, and would like to know their secret.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Logan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I forgot to ask you, tell us about your experience on that semifinal football run.
I mean, we knew it was going to be a good game, close, going to come down to the last minute. Had a good lead on them, but they just were a hard team to face and ended up capitalizing us there.
I learned a very interesting statistic. I listen to Froggy country music, and there is a gentleman on there who does Friday night football predictions. And he talked about, obviously everybody knows Aliquippa plays up from single A to 4A, and their number of freshmen to juniors was like 109, and yours is like around 310. But their starting line was larger than the Steelers' starting line that previous Sunday. So some pretty big boys out there you played against, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were really big kids there.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Well,
I'm sorry.
you keep that microphone. I want to stick with you for a second, Logan. Being a junior this year, you've still compiled a pretty good record personally for being a junior on this Belle Vernon team at 46-20. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So, pretty successful year last year. You finished third in the section, and I think your loss, correct me if I'm wrong, was to Brandon Finnerty.
Yeah.
You had a loss to him, but there's no shame in that. He's a pretty good wrestler, right?
Yeah, he's good.
What do you want to try to do this season to improve upon what you did last year? What are some of your goals that you're aspiring to achieve with the Leopards to help out?
I'm hoping to place pretty high at WPIALs, and one of my biggest goals is to place at states. I just need to be more aggressive this year, more technical.
Well, you've got a pretty good workout partner, too.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Cole. I had the opportunity to watch you last year. You wrestled in our gym at Norwin when I was there, and I was kind of pulling for you big time at the state tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We had good WPIAL representation there with you, and I want to say John Myers,
Yeah.
and I believe maybe a Cannon Mac wrestler. He didn't fare as well, but you were rattling through the state tournament quite well. You had 2 falls in the first 2 rounds, and then you came up against the Erie Prep kid,
Dorian Crosby.
Crosby,
Yeah, Dorian Crosby.
and match was great. I can still remember standing on the floor watching because he was tough.
Yeah, it was
There's
a
no
hard
shame in
match.
that. But it was 1-1.
Jeff will recite matches back to you, trust me.
But you know
He
why?
remembers
Because
everything.
the good ones stand out,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing. That's the beauty of the sport. You remember those. And Coach, that was your first trip to states with the Belle Vernon or anybody on that team, correct?
Just as a head coach.
As a head
I had
coach,
been
right.
there with a couple other, Zach Hartman and Scotty
Yeah,
Joel.
correct, right. But that injury, and I don't know specifically what it was, but talk a little bit about that and what I could sense that injury took its toll in the next match because you weren't able to really rebound. Tell us about
Yeah.
that.
So I hurt my shoulder earlier in the year with wrestling. Our coach brought somebody in to wrestle me because he trains with a whole bunch of college kids, and so he came and wrestled me. We were going hard, and I just got really far extended, which I was getting tired and lazy. I got far extended, and I tweaked my shoulder pretty bad. I didn't know what was wrong, sat out of practice, and a week later, it was still hurting. So I went to physical therapy, and it helped a little bit, but it just wasn't helping like what I really needed it to.
And what you had hoped for, and
Yeah.
it's just wrestling a tough kid like Crosby, just that one, I think it was just a bad shot, and he come down.
He kind of tried to force a headlock a little bit, and that's where the takedown was.
And
towards
Crosby was a big upper body guy. That's
Yeah.
what he was doing in all of his matches prior to yours. So I kind of sensed this was coming.
Yeah, and I think that part of it was, he was injured as a freshman too, so didn't quite get to where we thought he would as a freshman just because he couldn't wrestle at the end of the year. And I think that experience that Crosby had, coming from a good wrestling school, his father was a state
Sure.
champ too, so I think he had that experience, and I think that's what played out. I think he maybe, I don't want to say it was the wrong time to hit a headlock, but when you're not really a headlock guy,
Yeah.
when you're 1-1 in the state semifinals,
You heard about it afterwards.
it's the wrong time to hit a headlock, and especially because we scored first too. So if it came
Yeah.
down, so I just think that we would have bided our time a little bit, would have better. And then he's impossible to ride. Like nobody's riding him. He hasn't been.
Oh, I know. I remember watching it.
So it would have been. I'm not saying we would have won that match and then gone to state finals, but I would have rather stayed 1-1 and find out. So.
Yeah. And I'm sure you would have probably liked to seen how you would have fared after that match uninjured because I think the previous week you had beat Mr. Myers from Greensburg and finished section champ, right?
Beat him at the
We beat him with
In
him,
whips, yeah.
yeah.
So you, and he finished, I think, 5th or so. So it would have been
he's
nice on
no,
coming
he
back
finished third.
at the region. Yeah.
He finished third at states. We were.
Right. So, what are you doing this year? Both you guys can mention this. So, what's Coach have you doing, and what are you doing this year, mentally and physically, to improve upon where you were last season?
Just working hard, being in better shape, stronger, working on our technique, everything.
Good
Yeah.
conditioning.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be both of their benefits. Is they're both a lot stronger this year. Like he had wrestled last year at states at he weighed in the third day at states at like 191.3, wrestling 220.
Yeah.
This year he's about 207, wrestling 215.
Going
So I
to
just
file
think
out that
that's going
215 weight class
Yeah.
real well.
and the same with Logan. He's he works out hard. They both play football, so
Sure.
they're both gotten a lot physically stronger. As well as obviously a year older, I think that helps as well.
Where do you plan to be weight-wise this year, Logan?
I'm going to start up at 189, giving up a lot of weight there. So towards the end of the season, I'm hoping to drop down to 172. After the little Christmas weight allowance, it'll be 174, so should be able to get down there.
So your little brother's joining the program this year. Talk about that.
It's coming up, weighing around, I want to say 138. He's probably going to end up dropping down to 132.
So you guys won't be doing too much working out.
No.
Okay, when you're done, ask George, who's over there at watching the football game, about my brother and I in the wrestling room. You'll get a good kick out of that story. We were the same size, and it was ugly every day. So I just wanted to see if that dynamic was ever going to really shake itself out.
No.
Talk about you guys, you two, outside of wrestling. What else? I mean, we know you're football studs. What else do you like to do? Go ahead, Logan. You got the mic, my man.
I mean, it's not much. Most of my life, a lot of workouts and just going from place to place, whether it's football or wrestling or at the gym lifting.
Do you like outdoors, hunting, fishing, hiking, hanging with friends, family?
Yeah, I hang with.
He's
Go
more than
ahead.
150.
Take it, Cole.
Yeah, I like hunting and fishing and stuff.
Talk about fishing. What kind of fishing do you like to do?
I like trout, but I like hunting a lot more.
Do
Fishing,
you?
Yeah, fishing's like gets a little bit too boring sometimes. But even though hunting, you just sit out there for like
It's
hours.
better sitting in the tree stand in 20-degree weather and not seeing a deer, huh? So did you get a deer yet this season?
Oh yeah, I got a little weight point.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Coach, you outside of wrestling.
I just me too, not much. I still like to work out, so I try to go to the gym as much as possible, and I keep track of these guys. It's a full-time job as well. So. But that's about it. Just focus on my own family at home. I have 2 young boys, so just do a lot of family stuff outside of wrestling.
Are they wrestling yet, Coach? Or
They
too
dabble.
late?
They dabble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Coach, tell us upcoming schedule. What do the Leopards have coming up?
We're actually wrestling on the 12th at the I don't know what he's calling it now. It was the Short Houston tournament that they're but we're actually wrestling on the Saturday with some pretty stud teams. Burrell's going to be there. Seneca Valley, Waynesburg, Connellsville.
Wow, that's a grinder.
Yeah, so we our young guys got to step up. We did it a lot for these 2 plus another senior who's coming back from an injury. So the other guys got to step up to the plate right away. So
Okay.
should be interesting.
Well, hey, I mean, there's nothing like getting right out of the gate with some good, stiff competition. Kind of let you know where you stand.
Yes,
Yeah.
no
And what
doubt.
you got to work for. I mean, you're going to be wrestling some of the best guys in the state and guys that are probably ranked in the country. So, Jeff, any closing questions before we wrap it up?
No, on behalf of Westmoreland Sports, we're glad that you guys from Belle Vernon were able to make the trip up here and join the kickoff. You're the first Belle Vernon group to come up and be here and promote some of your wrestlers and join our team here. So thank you for making the trip up. And guys, we wish you a lot of luck in the upcoming season. We'll be watching.
Guys,
Thank
thank you so much. That's your Belle Vernon Leopards. When we return, we will have head coach A.J. Brentzel of the Penn Trafford Warriors right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.